go ahead and, well, I guess if you
Loud
want to
and
go ahead.
clear, and I see everybody, and
Okay.
afternoon, gentlemen.
Okay, it is 4 o'clock. We have or 3 o'clock, excuse me. We have a study session from 3 to 3:45 for the Boys and Girls Club of Salina, followed by a Lower Smoky Hill Water Supply District meeting at 3:45. So with that, we'll go ahead and I'll turn it over to the city manager to get us started.
Okay, Mayor and Commissioners, we had a study session several months ago about the Boys and Girls Club. They had had some discussions with city staff about trying to locate a facility in one of our parks. If you have the presentation, can you throw that up? And I've got a kind of a quick overview of what we've done. So we did have a discussion. At that discussion, City Commission expressed interest in moving forward with the Boys and Girls Club, but they asked us to do a public meeting. So we hosted a public meeting, and at that point, we had quite a few people from the baseball community come out in opposition for us removing this field for a couple of reasons. First, we had the Mexican-American Baseball League that uses that field, and it's actually quite a bit of use. They had several hundred people there every Sunday for 12 or 15 weeks during the fall. And then there was just general concern about not having that field in the neighborhood where kids could just go and play, pick up games whenever they want, not have to schedule anything. So at that point, staff started working with the Boys and Girls Club to try and see if there was a new location that we could take a look at. We offered up several different locations and parks across the community and really landed on the location that we're going to show you here today. And so that location is actually just to the north of Bondi Field. So if you know where Bondi Field was located in Sunset Park, or where the old tennis courts were, the location that we're looking at now is just across the street to the north of where Bondi Field is, and where the tennis courts were located. So we do have some maps. We'll throw those up as soon as we can, so we can show you kind of a high-level layout, the work that Charles Renz has done to lay it out in the area. And then the kind of the view, or what it looks like, it really stays pretty similar to what they had proposed before. So kind of are we going to get it going? There we go. If you want to just go down, keep going. So this is the location. This is kind of a zoomed out viewpoint. So this is you can see all of Sunset Park there. Bondi Fields are to the south, and the yellow highlighted area is the area that we're talking about. If you want to go down to the next slide. And so this is just a zoomed in view, kind of where the tennis courts were at. This would be the location where we would foresee the facility going. You can go to the next slide. This is a kind of a zoomed out view of the layout. You can see there's some additional parking to the west of the building, and some additional parking to the south, which would be just north of Bondi Field. You can go to the next slide. It'll zoom in a little bit more. So this is just a zoomed in viewpoint of a kind of a preliminary layout. If you just scroll through the next couple of slides, it just shows the pictures of the renderings that we had before. I mean, they haven't really changed that much. They do kind of still anticipate it to be kind of a rustic cabin view, which we think fits very nicely into the park. Actually kind of maybe fits better in that location. So here's just some renderings and drawings of that facility. And then these are the things that were requested by Boys and Girls Club. So you can see their attached letter, but establishment of a long-term lease for a portion of our park. Then platting and rezoning of the property, so we would work on that. Extension of the water and sewer lines. So at the last discussion that we had, the City Commission said that they were interested in going ahead and paying for that. And I believe it was $40,000 to $60,000 for water and sewer extension. We also talked about grounds maintenance and snow removal. And then one of the newest things that is an additional request that has to do with the parking and road improvements that would be adjacent to the facility. And then kind of a formal agreement with the organization. So at this point, what I really need from the City Commission is if you're okay moving forward. I mean, I think we had tentatively said we were okay with Boys and Girls Club being located in one of our parks, and we were just trying to hammer out what the location would look like. So at this point, if the City Commission has some feedback or input about this location, whether you're okay with it, really what I need, what staff needs is kind of a consensus of the Commission to say, hey, we're interested in this area. We want staff to continue to work on it. We'll put together a lease agreement that will highlight kind of all of these things. In terms of ground maintenance and snow removal, kind of what we had talked about at the last go-around, which I think kind of sticks today, is that the city would remove snow, but it's not gonna be, at the highest priority level. It'll just be in when we do regular snow removal in the park. We'll just take care of that. Ground maintenance, we basically said we're not gonna take care of the landscaping at a super high level, but anything that we're mowing today, there's no reason why we can't just get in there with the mowers that we have. So if they have expectations about landscaping that would be higher than what our normal maintenance is in the area, they would be responsible for that, but we could, mow while we're there. Road and parking improvements is a new one, and that's, if you'll go back to the slide that shows the layout of the parking. I think the reason that this came up as a request from the city is if you look at the parking on the south, that's really going to be kind of a co-use space. The Bondi Fields will use those parking spaces when people are there. The facility will use it, in the evenings or daytime when they have people, but on the weekends when they're not there, certainly that parking would get used by Bondi Field. And I will say, just as a matter of course, that's something that we've talked about in the Parks Department over the last number of years about where that would be. We've done quite a few concrete improvements in the parks with ADA parking and sidewalks and that sort of thing. So I do think that's something that in the future we were looking at kind of anyway. So we'd have to figure out what kind of a cost share that would be. We have no costs for that at this point. We don't have any estimates. So that would be something we would come back to the City Commission and say, hey, this is what we think we could, we'd determine what budget we have in the Parks Department and how much we could take on if the City Commission's interested in moving forward with us participating in that aspect. Other than that, really the same deal I think that we discussed in the past. Boys and Girls Club folks are all here if you want to speak at any point. But if you have questions for staff or questions for them, really what I need today is just your kind of direction and guidance. If you want me to move forward and start drafting a lease, then we can go through that process and kind of get it done. So Lance is here and the rest of the group is here as well. So Lance,
Yeah.
feel free if I didn't hit
Well,
anything.
I'm Lance Patterson. I'm the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club. Give you a quick update. We have started serving kids here in Salina, which is great news. We're serving kids right now at Oakdale Elementary School, and we're up to about 30 kids a day that we're serving. And so things are progressing well. We're moving right along, and so we're really excited about this opportunity and the opportunity to get a facility so we can increase that capacity by quite a bit and serve kids not only during the school year but also then during the summers. So any questions you might have, I'd be happy to answer.
Just curious, how many kids do you serve in Hutchinson?
Oh, we have about 900 that are registered members, and then we serve close to 2,000 through our outreach and registered members in outreach. And we do programs through, partnership with the school district. We also run a work-based learning program that serves some kids, especially during the summers. We do quite a bit of various things outside of just our everyday after school.
Cool.
What's your time frame on,
Well,
depending on lots of things, I guess?
that's kind of a big question. I think for our first thing that needs to get done is this site, and then we will really sit down and start to look at the site plan, decide what the building's going to look like, and then we would like to be able to apply for some grant funding through the Maybe Foundation and look for some things there. We have about half of the money raised for this building right now, so we're ready to go. So I would hope that by if we can get things approved and move forward, that by this summer we would be really looking at some groundbreaking and kind of moving forward there.
I don't really have any questions because this is not the first time this has been presented, so a lot of the thought processing has already been done, and I don't see anything here that's out of line with what we've done to help other projects, or certainly out of line for the benefit from the program.
Appreciate that.
I don't really have anything to add other than, I mean, the more I research this organization, the more enthusiastic I am about it, and appreciate the work that you do. And
Thanks.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing it in our community.
Yeah, the Salina community has been incredibly supportive. We're excited about the opportunities that exist here, and so just with, we opened in January at Oakdale, and we're already at 30, which we've put a cap on that. And so until we hire more staff, or we call them vision leaders, until we hire more vision leaders, we won't add more kids, but we already have some on a wait list. And so I think it's going to continue to grow as more and more people hear about it, and we get more involved. So it's been great.
Yeah, I think my questions are more for staff than they are for you guys. In your
Well, I
program,
appreciate your
so,
time.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll wait for Mr. Applequist.
I'm Roy Applequist, and I've been involved with this since it got started. I just had one thing I thought we might add that I don't think we talked about before was that we might, we plan to have some community space in the building too, where we can have some, where the people can, rent it or something and use it for family things and stuff, which I think will be there isn't any space like that at Sunset, and I think that'd be a real asset, especially, Anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, that's nice, because that is I did read that, because I know we have the Friendship Center and some other places around, but there's nothing in this area. So appreciate you taking that into consideration. So
As far as traffic, this would be, you'd be able to access this building without having to go through the apartment. The traffic flow's been
Yes,
worked
yeah,
out.
you could access it from outside the park. You don't have to go through Sunset Park to get to it. That's correct.
And I have to get the name of that street that ends up at the triangle there, but not that there's going to be 1,000 cars coming in and out of it.
Yeah, we don't
Shouldn't be
we
a-
don't see any
yeah,
issues with the traffic.
Okay.
So like on the south side, it looks like the entry to the park would then be through parking lot.
Yeah, I think it's going to feel more like a street than a parking lot. So it's kind of be like just not parallel, head-in parking on a street. So I don't think it's going to feel like a parking lot. I think it'll feel more like a driving lane with parking on the side. So
Will that be, that row of parking spots there on the west, will that be curbed so that you can't drive over or through?
yeah, I would anticipate it would be. Yeah.
So, and that was my question, because I've been out in that area. So that building, I believe, are there garage doors on that east side of the building that's currently there, and we have
that
parking? There's the guy.
Mayor, Commissioners.
Yeah.
Right now, the garage doors are only on the north side. There's some smaller doors that we use for like carts and stuff, but we don't usually park on that east side. It's usually just
On the north.
like a small cart or a trailer goes in there.
Okay, and there'll be plenty of room to still get in there with that parking that way. There's also, I believe, a restroom that's currently an old restroom that's there. Does that come out?
Yeah, most likely it would. It really is in disrepair anyway. Doesn't have a whole lot of use. We've got 2 other restrooms in the park already, so that was a discussion that we
Is
did
there
have.
one in that building where's the nearest one, so that those individuals using the baseball fields, where's the nearest restroom for
Right
those?
behind the shop on that west.
It is
on the
there.
west
Okay, I
edge.
couldn't
There is
remember,
one-
so.
There is one in the building, but that's not for public because it's locked up. But there's one right behind where the horseshoe pits used to be. It's right.
Have we
north of that.
have we upgraded that bathroom?
If we haven't yet, it is on the list.
It is on the list.
I don't remember exactly when, but we haven't been to Sunset yet.
Okay.
But we will. It is on the list, and
Okay,
it's
good.
coming up very soon.
Okay, because I know with the basketball courts and the softball or baseball fields, they do get some use. So okay. Do you anticipate the parking, along the Bondi Field there? Will that be concrete, or will that be asphalt, or is that still
Yeah,
to be
I would
determined?
anticipate we'd probably try to go with concrete. I mean, if we can do concrete, that makes more sense for long-term maintenance. Now, there hasn't really been any, at this point, it's just a schematic, overview, so we haven't done any of the work that needs to be done in terms of drainage and all that stuff. It is a poor drainage area, and that's that water kind of pools there, so we'll have to look at that. But yeah, if we can do concrete, I would anticipate that would be the best long-term solution for us with the least amount of maintenance long-term.
Yeah, it's funny because the parking on both sides of that diamond are the same as they were in 1980 when I used to play on that field. They haven't spent a penny on.
Not done much there.
So, and that leads me to one more question that really doesn't deal with this, but the actual Bondi field itself. I know the diamond to the south has dirt infield, and this one we've kind of let grow over with grass. Is there any thought to bringing that field back into more of a usable? Because it's pretty rough out there.
Yeah, so that actually was a choice that one of the former directors made, that he wanted to make more green open space, so we irrigated the area, which I don't believe we still irrigate, but it was at the time, and then it was put in Bermuda, so that way it was low maintenance. But being we're missing that baseball feel, there has been talks about at least getting like dirt where there's like a home plate, pitching mound, and those things. So there is talk of that, but right now we haven't lined out all the maintenance that would be entailed, and then who would, how to maintain it properly. But yes, we would like to make it look more.
Yeah,
like
I'd like to see that brought up. I mean, mainly with the Boys and Girls Club going in there, I can see.
Yeah,
I can see them using it for kickball and.
Yeah, we
whatever
fully
they'd be
intend to take a
using
look at it
also.
and see if there's something that we can do to make some upgrades. And actually, we met with the Mexican American baseball group folks several times through this kind of whole conversation just to see how we could accommodate them. And they have made an offer to come in and help do some improvements. So we are going to have some discussions with them about, if we could buy materials. And they have some folks that are on their team that are contractors and do some of that kind of work. So they have offered to try and help spruce up the field a little bit, get it into a little bit better shape. So I think in conjunction with all this, we'll work through some of those conversations with them and see what we can do to make it a nicer field.
And I guess since we're really not taking this out of the parks facility, as we call it, so we really don't have to go through any of those hoops that we would if we were moving it from the parks.
Yep, that's correct. There's no
master
protest
plan
petition, there's no process that we have to go through.
Okay. And when we talk about lease, do we have any idea when we say long-term, what we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really talked about a time frame. I would anticipate.
The older I get, the less long-term.
Yeah, generally speaking, things like this, 50, 75, 99 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk through some of those things and figure out what the right.
I also was curious about that. Now, I didn't know if this discussion today would kind of shed light on what people's tolerance was for that. But on this kind of project, when they are doing all the fundraising for it and building the structure, it's appropriate to do a very long-term lease. I think
I agree. Yeah.
And also, just kind of to your prior point, we're not only really the way this lease will be structured. We're not only not taking it out of the park system. We're actually going to enhance the park system because we're adding some playground that the Boys and Girls Club is going to be open to letting the public use when they're not in use of it, and also, like they said, it's going to have some meeting rooms that will be available that aren't currently there. So really, while the land is available for Boys and Girls Club, we're enhancing the park system at the same time. So that will be part of the lease.
Okay. And I think long term and the fact that it's going to be open some to the public makes a lot of sense. The last thing is, because I know we've had agreements with like the Theater Salina and some things. We're not doing any of the inside maintenance. We're not
nothing
doing
indoor.
any.
I've really stressed all along that we don't want to do anything more than kind of what we're doing already today. So that's where the snow removal. We're already in the park removing snow, so while we're there, we can move it. It's not that big a deal. Mowing the grass. We have big mowers that come through there, so it's not really that big a deal. But certainly nothing on the inside. We would stay away from any kind of building maintenance, inside maintenance. We would not do any of that.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Building looks nice. It'll be an enhancement to the park for sure. So.
For sure.
Doug, Mr. Commissioner Remp, can you hear?
Out loud and clear.
Do you have any comments or questions for anybody?
No, I'm, it's my first study session. I'm I'm paying fully attention. And the only thing I was wondering about the Boys and Girls Club just not being familiar, and the time would have been before. I don't know if you have a picture of me, if I could raise my hand or anything like that, but I was just, I was kind of curious to what their, maybe a sampling of the type of programs they do.
I bet there's someone here that can address that. Here he comes.
Yeah, and in the little packet of information that I sent on to you guys, it does give a little bit of an idea of what it is. But really, we have 4 key areas: academics, health and well-being, character and leadership, and life and workforce readiness. And so we provide some activities programming for those for kids within those areas, all the way from kindergarten all the way up through high school. Right now, we're focused on 3rd through 5th grade. When we did our community needs assessment, what we found is that that was an age group that while there's a lot of different resources available in the community, that was an area where there was fewer for that age. And so we focused on that, and then we plan to grow up with the kids. And then as we get more capacity, we'll start to serve kids as they into the lower grades as well. But when on a daily basis after school, you can think of it like kind of like a rec center for just kids. And we do really all of those different areas where we'll have a snack time. We will have time for them to go out and play, and just, play is a really, really important part of a child's development. And so we want to make sure we give them a lot of opportunities to do that. And where they're leading and directing it, we're providing the boundaries for that so that they're doing it in a safe way. But then we also bring in things like the academic support, homework help, reading, math, those types of things that will really help them in the school setting. One of the things that we really try to do is have a strong relationship with the schools so that we know what the needs are, what the school is seeing as far as, and like most schools, reading and math is the 2 areas where the most help is needed. But and I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon. So that's where we spend a lot of our time is focused on how we can support the kids in what they're doing in the school day, but reinforce it during the after-school setting. And then we do things like little cooking classes. We're doing one of the things that Heather, as the director, is doing right now is there's a movie where they watch movies and rate them and do things like that. They're doing an art class. So we really let the kids have a lot of say in what it is that they get to do. They come up with the ideas, and then we try to make it happen for them. But really, it's in those 4 areas: academics, health and well-being, character and leadership, and workforce readiness.
Is there...
Hey, Lance, everything I'm hearing is great feedback. I think certainly needed with today's youth, having interacted, having dealt with a lot of today's youth. I applaud what you guys are trying to do. I know you have a lot of great local people involved. And I also, as a kid, was involved in a very similar club or upbringing, and I like the mission.
Oh, well, good. Thank you.
Is there transportation provided?
There will be. So that is one of the things that we will do. Those, cost and transportation are the 2 biggest barriers.
Yeah.
And those are the 2 things that we're going to focus on breaking down. So the cost will be kept very affordable, and we will provide some form of transportation. What exactly that looks like, whether we own the vehicles and do that, or whether we work with Durham or another organization to help provide that hasn't quite been set. Might be a combination of all those things. So, but yes.
Perfect. Okay. Any other questions or comments? So I guess we direct staff to move forward and bring us back. I guess, bring us back numbers as far as for the.
Yeah, we'll
parking, all
we'll start
that.
working on a lease, start work on the land use aspects of it, and bring back something for action here. I think we can do it pretty quickly within the next 30 days probably. So.
Good. Okay. Any other comments from the group? Okay. Thanks for being here, and we will be back at 3:45 for our Lower Smoky Hills meeting. Okay. Thank you. Okay, it is 3:45. I will call to order the Lower Smoky Hill Water Supply Access District meeting to order. I will look to staff to see if the Open Meeting Act required notice has properly been provided.
Yes.
Thank you. May we have a roll call?
Mike Hoppick.
Here.
Jerry Ivy.
Here.
Carl Esping. Tom Toll. Here. Dr. Trent Davis.
Here.
Greg Linkowitz.
Here.
Doug Remp.
Here.
Okay. We have no public hearings. We do need to approve the minutes from the November 10th meeting. Does anybody have any corrections or additions?
I move we approve the minutes from November 10th meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the November 10th, 2025 meeting. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes. New business. Martha, I'm going to turn it over to you.
For new business, we need to set our next meeting, which will be the review of the 2027 budget and authorize publication of the 2027 budget, and we'll review the 2028 budget at that time. And put a couple of dates down there for that, July 13th or July 27th for the public hearing on the budget and approval. So we have two different sets of dates to pick times for.
Yeah, we need the 2027 budget authorizations, what, May 11th or
May
June 1st?
11th and June 1st, and then for the public hearing, July 13th or July 27th.
Are there any dates that do not work for any of the?
The 1st of June doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so that would leave May 11th. Does that work for everybody else?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
What about the public hearing for the budget, July 13th or July 27th? Either one of those a problem for anybody? For any date better than the other for you or Carl?
Rather the 13th than the 27th, but I
Okay.
can make either work.
Okay. Okay, why don't we have two separate motions, one for the, if I could have those.
I move we have the first meeting on May 11th.
I'll
Second.
second that.
We have a motion and a second to review the 2027 budget on May 11th. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that passes. How about the public hearing for the 2027 budget and election of officers? Oh, there's Carl.
I move that our public hearing on the 2027 budget and approval of the budget and election of officers be held on July 13th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve July 13th as the date for the public hearing on the 2027 budget and approval of the 2027 budget and election of officers. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that passes. Any other business? Martha, you have anything to share with us, or?
I might
Carl?
share that they're still working on the outfall line at Canopolis Lake. The intent is to be finished in March. They're trying to really rebuild that outfall. There's a lot of erosion there, putting in riprap and concrete to hold it in place. And so that means we're still low water in the lake. We're just right at that 2 foot below conservation at 1461. So we're anxious for them to get done and start holding water for the summer. I don't think I have anything more than that. Okay.
No, the only thing I have to report is that the good news is that we've cleared all the trees out of the river and got them to Salina, so you got them.
Let's hope that doesn't happen for a long time again, buddy. Yeah.
I was going to kick you, Tom.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to add? Okay, if not, I'll accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. We will be back here at 4 o'clock for the regular scheduled meeting. Thank you, guys. Okay, it is 4 o'clock. I will call the Salina City Commission meeting for Monday, February 23rd to order. I will look to staff for confirmation the Kansas Open Meeting Act required notice has been properly provided.
Yes.
Thank you. May we have a roll call?
Mayor Hoppick,
Here.
Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Ivy,
Here.
Commissioner Lankwitz,
Here.
Commissioner Remp.
Here.
In case you wondered, Commissioner Remp is zooming in, so you'll hear him, but you won't see him today. So with that, with those that are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we have no public hearings today. That will bring us to the consent agenda.
Item 4.1, consider approval of the February 9th, 2026 regular meeting minutes. Item 4.2, consider approval of resolution number 26-8337, appointing members to citizen boards, commissions, and committees. Item 4.3, consider resolution number 268335 to declare the city-owned parking lot on the corner of Santa Fe Avenue and Ash Street as a qualified municipal facility under the City of Salina Municipal Facility Naming Guidelines. And item 4.4, consider accepting title to a building located in North 3rd Street right-of-way north of Elm Street from Matador Cattle Company for the sum of $10.
Okay, is there an item that a commissioner would like to remove from the consent agenda? If not, are there any comments from the public on the consent agenda? Okay, with that, I will bring it back to the commission for action.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as published. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That item passes 5-0. That will bring us to administration.
Item 5.1, consider approval of resolution number 26-8336 advising the issuance of IRBs for a sales tax exemption on construction materials for the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency.
Okay, I'll look to staff or Mitch. Robin?
You got me today,
Okay.
Mayor. Glad to be with you all today, talk about this project with the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency. I'll get the name out. A kept throwing me off a few times, but agency. This is a not-for-profit organization that provides services to over 80 municipalities across the state of Kansas. We've got a team here today. Tyson McGreer and Sam Mills are both here today with the company. We'll hear from Tyson next. And then Sarah Steele, who is with Gilmore and Bell, the city's attorney, will be here and will be able to answer the technical questions that'll come up from this project. This is a little bit different. It's not the traditional full-blown property tax abatement. All the company is asking for is sales tax, the abatement on the sales tax for the project, which is estimated to be about $250,000. That's cumulative. That's counting the state, the city, county, other taxing agencies. So city probably is around the $70,000 amount that would be coming to the city. So the company has purchased property from basically the Chamber of Commerce. It's their foundation behind on Progress Drive. They've acquired 15 acres. They're going to build on 5 of those with this initial project. There'll be 3 buildings, an office and a line shop where they'll be able to keep their vehicles, have meeting space. That's about 8,500 square feet. Then there's a fab shop where they will build equipment, assemble equipment, which is 4,850 square feet. And then there'll be a cold storage warehouse building that's 4,500 square feet that they'll have on this property. They currently are employing 20 people here in Salina. They acquired the former, I get my name right here, well, So I know it's the company you all.
Mid-States
Mid-State Energy, right, several years ago, and that company dates back to 1952 here in Salina. So included on the blue sheet, we outlined the number of jobs, the wage levels the company pays. Definitely, these are nice paying positions, well above average for the new positions that they'll be employing. And at this point, I think really you need to hear from Tyson. He can talk more about it, and then we can answer additional questions from Sarah and myself as we move forward. So, you'd come up.
Thanks, Mitch. Thank you. I appreciate you having us here today to talk about our project. Mitch did a great job kind of outlining what the project is. Again, like he said, we're a nonprofit quasi-municipal energy agency made up of 89 members across the state. We literally are in every corner and in between. Our mission, our vision is to help communities not unlike yourself that own their own electric utility. We help them, specifically this division that'll be in Salina, with line work, building substations, engineering, SCADA work, substations, generation, that sort of stuff. So this facility will support those activities across the state. Again, when we purchased Mid-States almost 6 years ago, they had 7 or 8 employees. We're up to 20 now and expect to grow that at least by a couple employees a year for the next 5 years is what we're projecting. So the demand is great for our services around the state. Again, like Mitch said, we'll be moving from a facility north of the railroad tracks off of Santa Fe, expanding greatly. We have just ran out of space with all the employees and then the needed equipment. We've got a good-sized meeting room space. We currently hold 2 to 3 meetings around the state. Because we don't have the space, those likely will be housed here every month, and then we've got some bigger ones quarterly and semi-annually that likely will be here in Salina now that we have the facility. So that's kind of who we are. And Mitch kind of talked about the facility. We've got Sam Mills here as well. If there's questions specifically about the facility or what each one of the spaces mean or what they do. But with that, I would open it up for questions of me or Sam on the project.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Rimp? Any questions?
I have comments, but I think they'll be coming a little bit later.
Okay. I think I know I have some questions for bond counsel probably and some things. It's where my questions would come, so.
Okay. If something pops up.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Doing well.
Could you give us your name?
Thank you. Sarah Steele.
Thank you, Sarah.
With Gilmore and Bell out of Wichita. We serve as bond counsel to the city.
All right. I'm not very good at math, but I couldn't come up with $250,000. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, because it shows construction at $6.3 million. So how did the $250,000, so that's for state, county, and city?
Correct.
Okay. And what's the number that's calculated off of then? Because it's anticipated construction costs, correct?
Typically, it is about half of what the overall project cost will be, because it only applies, the sales tax exemption only applies to materials that are subject to sales tax. Labor on new construction is already exempt from sales tax. So my rule of thumb, and I apologize, I don't know how they came up with 6.3, but my rule of thumb is usually take 50% of the total cost, and that's materials that are being acquired.
Okay. It said estimated construction cost of $6.3 million, contributing to a total project investment of $8.5 million.
I think that there's some equipment and furnishings that are going into it that would total up to the 8.5. Am I correct?
Land as well.
Oh, and the cost of land,
But none of
which is not exempt.
none of the equipment is being tax exempt, just the construction materials.
Correct.
Okay. So I was trying to work into the 200, I couldn't come up with a number from the numbers that were on the report. And so then I took if I'm right, and I'm looking to staff, so if we're looking at a total tax abatement of $250,000, ours is about 13.5% of that, which would be that $78,000 or whatever.
That's correct.
Okay. For the city.
That's provided they buy all their materials in Salina, correct?
No, anything they buy.
They may be subject also to a destination tax equal to the amount paid of taxes in Salina, because everything would be shipped here.
Okay, times.
Yeah, so taxes are paid at the point of delivery.
Yeah.
So anything that's delivered here, they'll pay that tax rate.
So even when I come up, again, $250,000 is the total tax abatement, and I think we're only like 13.5%, so that comes up to about $34,000.
Yeah, it would be about 30 for us, 35,000 for us, and then another 35,000 for the county.
So that's where, okay.
So, and then the rest of it is state money. Maybe it's a little bit higher. So county's 1.5%, we're at 1.25%.
So, okay.
And then there's a odd calculation of how city-county sharing happens that's based on property taxes and lots of other things, so I can't give you an exact. So our portion is generally anywhere from 13 to 15%
of the total.
It's hard to tell you exactly what that will be, because it varies depending on how the revenue sharing works.
And the other thing from reading this is because of their structure, they're exempt from property tax, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I was just going to add that the $250,000 number was provided to the company by Hutton. That was based on calculations they did.
By Hutton?
Yes.
Okay.
That's who's their contractor.
Okay. And I guess they answered a little bit my question. So you'll be bringing individuals into the community on a monthly basis for meetings. Is that?
Yes, sir. We've got 3 different segments of our communities that we do power supply for. We currently host most of those at the KMU facility in McPherson, but once we have this facility, we'll start hosting those at our own facilities.
So there's like 1 day, 2 day meetings, or?
Yeah, at least 1 day. We do some annual stuff that's a 1 or 2 day meeting. So yeah, we'll start all hosting those at our own facility instead of renting facilities. So.
Okay. I guess those were my questions. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
You have 20 employees now. Are these jobs and salaries listed here, are those going to be additional employees? Or is that what you have now?
That's what we have now. Likely the employees we hire will be in those job titles, whether it's laborers or engineering.
Do you have any idea like how many you'll be looking to hire in the near, like, let's say 10 years?
Yeah, we project, and of course it's all off demand, at least 2 a year for the next 5 years. But we are extremely busy, so if we have the opportunity to add more staff and support, it's all driven off our needs of our communities. So if the needs grows, we definitely will continue to add staff.
Yeah, because your report showed, or our blue sheet showed, four new employees the first year, 2 the second, and 2 the third.
Yep.
That's what they were projecting. So.
Yeah, we've actually just hired 2 people that are starting, 2 additional and starting in March. So, yeah.
Okay. Commissioner
Mayor Hoppick?
Yes, go ahead.
I want to say that having taken a look through all the materials and just trying to get my mind around it, one of the things I struggle with is KMEA is a nonprofit, yet they have enough income for an average salary of $110,000 for their employees. I would think you'd have to be a Salina regional, and perhaps it's not even that great at Salina regional, for an average income of $110,000. And I came up with that number from, they shared all the ranges for their 8 different positions of employee they have, and if I take a mid-range of each of those and average it out, it comes to 110,000 a year. And it was mentioned earlier by Mitch, and it's mentioned in the materials that they tend to pay towards the higher end of the ranges. So that leads me to believe that their average pay for a quote-unquote nonprofit is north of 110,000, which is probably triple the average taxpayer in Salina, what their annual income is. I struggle with, I guess, foregoing money coming into the city, money being taken out of the taxpayers' pockets when your average income is over triple what the average citizen gets.
Okay, any other comments? Are you still there, Commissioner Rimp?
Oh, yes, I'm
Yeah,
right here.
any other comments?
No, again, I'm just trying to get my head around that, why we should forego that income as a taxpayer in the community, again, with triple the average income, triple plus.
Go ahead. Come on, we'll let you address that.
Yeah, I can. Sorry. Yeah, some of that, we compete directly for employees with the utility industry, not only for high-level engineering folks, but also a lot of our folks are linemen, and the lineman industry, that is an industry that continues to struggle finding qualified people, so we do compete with them for finding folks. So we do pay really well. We take pride in that to help support our communities with highly skilled people, not only engineering staff, but also the linemen and those folks. So, yeah, we do pay really well, and we're proud of that. So,
Well, I think that's great that you're proud of it, but I would think that the city could use a sales tax too.
Well, I guess I look at it, it's a not-for-profit, but you've got to look at the type of jobs, that are being, when you look at engineering and linemen, those are jobs that probably, I'm guessing, obviously, demand a higher salary.
They command a higher rate of pay.
And I guess as a community, we always talk about we want higher paying jobs to come to the community, so I would think this would be the type of jobs we want to come to our community. So we always talk about, earning wage, and so I think that, the fact these are above the earning wage, what's the word I'm looking for? Is that?
Triple.
A little above the wage.
Living wage, yeah. So
the county average wage.
So, yeah, I guess the point, the only thing I kind of struggle with a little bit is that, a lot of times we do abatements, and a lot of times it's on IRBs for property tax, knowing that we get property tax in the future. That's the only thing here is there's no property tax to be collected in the future because of the makeup of the company. And I guess, Mitch, it states in here that there's it's not required by law to do the economic impact analysis. We've always had either Fort Hays State or Wichita State do an impact analysis when we do something like this. Could we address that?
Statutorily, it is not required when all you're considering is a sales tax exemption. Those analyses are really geared toward a property tax exemption that goes across the board. The sales tax piece of it is very minimal, so I'm not quite sure that it would even be possible.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, how you would, do
right.
it. So just said it was statutorily wasn't required, but I didn't know if one was even available if you wished to have one.
Not to my knowledge, no. But again, it's because they don't need one under the statute. That's only if you have a property tax exemption. So, for example, we'll be bringing back Lee Hardware Lofts to you. That's only sales tax. So there are a few that the city has pending that are sales tax only, but they're in a different category, not being a municipal agency like this is. So.
Any questions or comments? I look.
Generally, like the IRB to attract new businesses and bring people into town, and I'm struggling with that as few employees as it's bringing in, and also the no property tax down the road that we're going to see that usually incentivizes doing these. That would be my biggest thing against it right now.
Yeah, if I could address the comment about the existing industry versus new industry. The majority of the abatements we've provided over the last 10 years have all been to our existing companies. Swans, Great Plains / Kubota, so new operation, Geoprobe, Remco, trying to think of some others. Pardon? Superior, obviously existing. The only one that was new, which was the seed company, Beck's Hybrids Seed. So the majority of new jobs come from your existing industries. Over 80% on average come from your existing companies, and we can look at our numbers over the years, and that's definitely the case here. So in fact, in our full-blown, when we do the full-blown comparison to calculate that abatement amount, we put in positives, pluses for those existing companies, because we feel like existing companies have been here for many years supporting the local economy, and we want to support that. So that's part of that. But I appreciate your questions and concerns.
Can I just follow that line of thought?
Yes, sir.
With the example, I'm sorry, I had that up. Following your line of thought, with the examples you gave, I think one of the selling points in granting the abatements was there was easy to see projected increase in revenue and job growth over the years. Mm-hmm. Is this a type industry that you expect to grow much? I mean, just by its very nature, is it? So many employees now, and wouldn't be much. I'm asking out of ignorance now, but it would be about the same 5 or 10 years from now, or
that'll be a question for them. But in general, if you're looking at the electrical demand we're seeing across the country due to all sorts of AI-driven projects, there is going to be a tremendous increase in electrical-related positions from what we're seeing in our profession. So I would say yes. But I'll let Tyson handle that.
Yeah. Again, we're municipally owned, so cities like yourself that have electric utilities. So demand is driven by their demand, but we have seen an exponential growth since KMEA has purchased Mid-States. Again, when we purchased them, there was, I think, 7 employees total. They're up to 20, and then we're expected to grow that even more.
I guess maybe, it's a great answer to my question. I think my problem is with the person asking the question to me. What situation causes your business to increase?
Not only potential growth of our communities, and we've got some communities that are members that are growing, but also we talked about one of the biggest growth sides of our business is linemen. A lot of the smaller communities have a hard time finding qualified linemen, so they're looking to us to provide those services. So that's an area that continues to expand for us, and we provide those services through our communities.
Not just consult, you're actually providing direct services.
Yep. So we kind of have two, we were really kind of born on a power supply. We helped communities develop and find power supply. Coal plants, wind farms, all the different things. Since purchasing Mid-States, now we're actually boots on the ground. We're building power lines, substations. We've got around 30 generating units going in across the state. We're facilitating those construction. So, yeah, we do everything from building poles to lines, switchgear, all that stuff. So,
And a lot of the communities that you work for, correct me if I'm wrong, are smaller communities that just don't have access to, a large population center. So when I was a city administrator in a small town in western Kansas, we had power generation and we used KMEA for these types of services. And it got to the point in that community where we could not provide the service that we really couldn't do it at all. And we ended up getting out of the power game altogether. So KMEA provides that service to those communities that just wouldn't be able to do it without having kind of centrally located people. They're able to live here in Salina and go to western Kansas and work. So it allows them to kind of get a higher quality or more people where there's population centers. So I do think it's a pretty important services for the small communities across the state. Not only in just doing the line work, but also lots of training, and they even provide training that we attend as a city of Salina. So different kind of dig safe and all that sort of stuff. So will you be doing any training here?
We probably won't. KMEA does a lot of KMU does a lot of the training, water, wastewater, that sort of stuff. We may do some depending on, what the demand is. Again, we're driven by the demands of our municipal members. So if they say, hey, we're really lacking in this, we'll try to put a program together.
You're not the company actually generating the power, or you're more servicing?
We more service. We don't actually own. Generation.
Okay.
Our municipal members own generation and primarily purchase electricity through PPAs, purchase power agreements, off of larger facilities. So
if I was a small community and I wanted power, I could just use their name, Evergy, to produce the power. And where do you fit in between the power plant producing energy and the end user?
Yep. So we can help facilitate that agreement. A lot of the large generating units, coal plants, nuclear plants, wind farms, they don't want to sell a half a megawatt or a megawatt to a small community. Our average size community is like 2,800. So we primarily are small communities all the way. Garden City's our largest by population. So we're primarily small communities. We fit into where we can take, the latest was a solar farm being built in Pratt County. We were able to take 36 of those members that wanted to buy a little bit of power off that solar farm, where normally they couldn't just go individually purchase that. So we end up facilitating that agreement. So, and that, again, that's just one side of our organization. The side that will be located here in Salina is more your boots on the ground lineman type of individuals. So, yeah.
I guess,
Mr. Mayor, if I could?
Yes.
I think the services they provide are of value without question to the smaller communities around the state. I'm going to go back to all the other companies that Mitch talked about, though, with the IRBs, that all of those other the entities he mentioned, the Schwans, the Kubotas, the Remcos, all of those, at least we were able to look forward to future property tax growth once the abatement ended. And in this particular case, it doesn't end.
And in those cases, Commissioner, we were giving property tax abatements too, for what, 10 years?
Yes.
So this.
That's my point, that eventually the property taxes came online.
Right.
Yeah. We're here as more of a peer. We're really like a municipal city. Yeah, we're more of a peer to Salina than we are an actual for-profit company. So.
Just to clear up any confusion, then you currently pay property tax, or you're exempt?
We don't.
Okay.
We're exempt. Now, we do plan to sell the current facility off Santa Fe, so that would be, whoever buys it likely will go back on the tax rolls. So.
The property you own out off of Waterwell Road, are you developing it all, or is there room for future expansion?
On our actual yeah, so we're building on and this might be more of a question for Sam. We're building on 5 acres of it. We purchased 10. Our executive board did not want to get us tied down. We've had a lot of conversations about other services that may require additional land. We're not quite there yet, but as those develop or the need arises, we could expand into that rest of that acreage. So.
Would your project proceed forward with or without the money?
Yeah, we're going to move forward. Again, we're just asking, any help just in turns is less dollars that we.
I don't blame you if I ask.
Yeah. All that does is lower the amount we owe, which is less that our municipal members have to in turn pay back. So.
Okay, if not, we will open it up to public for comments. Is there anyone from the public like to comment? Okay, if not, I'll bring it back to the commission for further discussion or a motion. As quiet as you guys have been in a long time. I guess no one else is going to talk. I'll talk for a minute. I guess this is not a no-brainer. I think we've pointed out the pros and the cons. I was concerned when I thought the $250,000 was the Salina's portion of this, and that's why I started doing the math. When I look at it, and $37,500 approximately is the sales tax we're giving up, and as a county we're giving up approximately $75,000, let's say maybe. I do like the fact that they're bringing in good paying jobs, and right now they're looking at 8. But they've already brought in several since they've made their acquisition 6 years ago. So I think they've been good for the community. So I can see both sides of it.
Of these, I was assuming these are already, or how many of these jobs are actually already here? No.
We've got it right at 20.
20 jobs is what they said.
The ones
yeah.
listed here are already here. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then if you look, they're planning on bringing in, according to this, 8 more in the next 3 years.
Most of the new jobs will just fit in those job titles.
Okay. And for Mitch, how does that follow in your rubric for? I know you have a scheme formula that you plug that into.
Because of this not being the normal, we didn't go through that process of looking at them. But in general, these would blow out the wage levels of any of the jobs we've had on any of these projects that you all have funded before. So these are good quality jobs. It's just the size of it's a smaller project, so it wouldn't earn the category checkoffs that would get them to, say, 100% of the abatement. But that's, of course, we're talking sales tax versus property tax, so it's a big difference of what they're asking for.
And was Superior Plumbing the smaller project we've approved?
Yes, for their estimates, 5 jobs, and in fact, we had a meeting with a potential customer that would far exceed that number. That would be a tenant in that building, potentially. So.
And Superior, we didn't do a full abatement. We only did it on a portion of the building that was going to be a new build. A&B Machine is the most recent one that we've done that was probably a little bit larger than this, but not a lot. And we did abate property taxes 100% on that one.
Yes, that was 6-point-something million. With, those are good paying jobs as well.
I guess it's easier to feel threatened that a company won't come, and you want to give the abatement before they start or commit to the project.
And that was my earlier comment about having additional bonuses to existing companies because, again, we feel like we need to support our existing companies even more than trying to recruit somebody in.
And I looked at Sarah. When it comes to the abatement, it's all or none, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. You
Okay.
cannot pick and choose
Uppers.
different jurisdictions or percentages on the sales tax
Okay.
exemption. Property tax, you have a lot more leeway.
Right. Okay, thank you.
And where does this position us as far as setting precedent? So this is lowering at least one of those bars in that rubric. Does this pose problems in the future?
I think Sarah had mentioned the hotel, the legal office space. No, what's the hotel project? Okay, so it's definitely a different project because of their not-for-profit status. I mean, to me that's the big difference. I would think that we're not going to come across any other not-for-profits that pay this kind of wage levels that we'd want to even bring forward. This is not a Chamber of Commerce or an economic development organization or a United Way type project. This is very unique. But and all our projects are pretty much taken one by one when they come before our group and before we make a recommendation to the City Commission.
And what do you know off the top of your head? Notice the vote was 5-2 to move this here. Do you know what the objections were?
I think it was a concern of setting a precedent to some degree. That was a concern of two of the members. One in particular, I can't really say the second one. He didn't make any comment other than his vote.
Okay. So I guess an analogy would be if one of our larger charitable organizations wanted to buy a new building, expand, and bring a few other folks in, they could say, well, we're kind of analogous to this project. And
So that would be
I like having that type business in town, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just...
well, that would be a question under state statute, is that a qualifying company or a business that would justify that? So there has to be, that's a Sarah question. Okay. I didn't say it at Holiday Inn last night, so perhaps I can unturn.
The industrial revenue bonds may be used by virtually any company. If it is a true 501c3, there's some federal tax code benefits that also could come into play. But this is certainly something that you could offer if a not-for-profit is expanding, or, I'm thinking like the YMCA or something like that. They can use this as a tool if they so choose. They may otherwise be exempt from property taxes, but they may not be exempt from sales tax. There are a number of exceptions to the sales tax, but unfortunately, the Department of Revenue isn't looking at this as a municipality. For example, if you were building a building for the city of Salina, there is a specific exemption, and they didn't look at it that way here. So, not sure why.
Will they have problems with the sales tax being exempt? The same Department of Revenue? I mean, does that cause...
Correct.
Does that cause problems down the road for this agency?
Right. It's just this project that was denied.
Okay. Well, sounds like there are enough peculiarities about this case that it might almost seem right. I guess the quasi-municipal, I don't know what the adjective would be, but quasi-municipal nature. That weighs heavily in my thinking forward to this, but I'm still a little troubled. In other words, who do we say no to from going for? I mean, why would I build a building in Salina without getting my IRBs first? And that single amount of money by itself is not going to break our budget. But if everything we build, we don't get any tax from, it hurts a little bit. Just need somebody to talk with me out loud here. I mean,
I told you it's not a slam dunk either way. So I think if you want to make a motion one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I will say the EDO has put thought into what they've done, and to your credit, I can't say you've steered us wrong. If you have, I can't remember when you did. But so I won't say you've had a perfect record, but it's pretty good in my memory right now. So I'm going to move to approve Resolution 26-8336.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 26-8336. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Aye.
Okay,
Or nay.
that fails 2-3. And I guess the reason I voted nay is it seems like we're giving other municipalities a break, but yet cutting ourselves out of the loop a little bit. So, the fact that a lot of times when we approve these, we're always looking at the future earnings. And although I do think these are really good jobs, I just think I think of some of a little bit what you said, Commissioner Davis, what doors are we opening in the future? So, anyway.
Ironically, what kind of convinced me is the big picture overall. It does help fortify the infrastructure in rural Kansas, and maybe just us being good neighbors, so to speak. But I guess that's not our job.
As long as they keep shopping here.
Okay. We have no development businesses or any other business individual would like to bring before us, the commission. I do have one. Again, I always like to talk about positive things going on. I did look at today I was out by the county fairgrounds and the ag building and Kenwood Hall and all those, and they've, I think, finally got everything kind of done compared to, what year was that we were working on that agreement? That was pre-COVID?
Yeah, it's been 4, 5, 6 years when we started that.
But I think they've done a good job of really cleaning up those buildings, and it really looks nice, and they've done a good job of blending it in with the
Commissioner, I've been following that closely. The prior city manager asked me to basically assess that on a yearly basis. I met with the assistant county administrator a couple months ago on this because the agreement requires an update on the progress of that. They have made very significant progress. They were finishing up a few minor details in some of the buildings. It's been striking to see the difference even since I started with some of those buildings with the new windows and the landscaping. And one question that they hear a lot is, why aren't you paving it? And they can't because the horses do not like paved streets. That's the reason why that area out there is not paved. However, there has been a lot of concrete work done on the sidewalks on the front, some of the entrances and otherwise, but there are no plans to pave all of that area strictly for the reason that the horses do not like walking on those harder surfaces. But that was never called for in the original plan, but that's just a question that we get a lot. The windows on the
ag building and otherwise have been replaced. There's been a lot of tuck pointing going on, and just numerous, paint repairs to siding, a number of repairs. And like I said, as of about 2 months ago, they were finishing up some of the last things. So I believe they have completed all of the required steps under the agreement.
It looks that way.
I did have two things that they're fairly easy. This past Saturday, the NAACP had a fundraiser at the Temple, and when you gussy up that old building, it actually is a very classy place to have a fairly formal event. So if you have any extra dollars that you want to donate to a very worthy cause, the building does need still some hardcore structural and cosmetic work, but consider it for your social events. But 100 years of wear and tear has aged some parts of it. Or if you just want to volunteer, this is an unsolicited endorsement, but it's a fun place to have an event. The second thing is the vote on the election for the BSL legislation officially is tomorrow, which means the ballots have to be in tomorrow.
By noon.
By noon. So it's too late to mail it. So it would have to be dropped off in person before noon tomorrow. That was it.
Yeah, and on the Temple parking lot, I think there's still, that's on the agenda to still pave. I know the lights look great.
Yep,
They
absolutely.
really help.
There'll
and
be new asphalt
The
put in.
entryways look good. The parking lot's still in dire need of.
Those lights are very, very bright there.
Yeah.
They're nice. Yeah.
Looks good. Okay, anything else? If not, that will bring us to Citizens Forum. We ask you to come forward and make your comments, and please keep them to 3 minutes or less. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address us?
Steve Murison, Salina, and it's more of a invite. Our VFW, local VFW, is going to be 100 years chartered, March 19th. We're planning on having a ceremony there. Don't have the exact times or anything. We'll also have a dinner that night on that Thursday. We're probably going to do karaoke and some maybe some dancing and some music on Friday. But the big thing is going to be on Saturday the 21st. We've got a dinner. We've got a band coming in, and we're also doing a ceremony there. And I'd like to invite you all out in the community out to come and celebrate 100 years of the VFW being here in Salina, Kansas.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Tony Johnson, Salina. I just wanted to clarify a couple points made 2 weeks ago in relation to the credit card usage. The curtains with the redacted shipping address, she was very forthright and open about what they were and whatnot, and I have no reason to disbelieve what she told me. Sometimes my comments are a little, my brain gets ahead of my mouth, and the same with the Parks and Rec director. The Airbnb, while, like I said, I don't agree with all this, but the Airbnb, he said he was at a work conference, and again, I have no reason not to believe what he told me. So anyway, that's all I had.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Your name, please, and where you're
Kim
from.
Hill, born, raised right here in Salina. Before my time starts, I've got stuff written out, and I'm just going to read from it because I don't want to leave anything out, if that's okay.
Yeah, that counts as your 3, so yeah, go ahead and read.
Okay.
Yeah, that's part of your 3 minutes.
I was here in December of 2024 bringing to your attention the issues with our animal shelter, and here I am again. During that meeting, I brought to your attention the abuse and neglect by the shelter staff documented by veterinarians, along with a packet that detailed vindictive type behavior and directives given to shelter staff by Monique with the Friends of the Shelter. This was also presented with the Animal Shelter Advisory Board. And let's not forget the volunteer that was viciously attacked. Now here we are with another failed state inspection that included documentation of inhumane euthanasia practices. When is enough going to be enough for you to act? This practice is disgusting. Even veterinarians in Salina try to avoid it unless the animal is sedated first. You can no longer ignore all this. With the previous abuse and neglect cases that have been documented, now inhumane treatment, it would be really nice if you would act and do something. We've got a wonderful organization with Prairie Paws that is wanting to come in and take over and run our shelter. I, for one, solely support that. If any of us citizens treated these animals the way that some have been treated by some of the staff at our animal shelter, we would already be criminally investigated and possibly facing criminal charges. And so with that, I wouldn't mind having a criminal investigation opened up into the staff at our animal shelter on the way they treat the animals. The Animal Shelter Advisory Board passed a motion at their last meeting about Prairie Paws to have Mr. Woods bring it to you in consideration for them taking over our shelter. They are open 7 days a week. Their shelters are clean. They don't smell like feces and animal urine, and they're open 7 days a week, which is completely different than our shelter. There is outrage within our community over this. Not only did media outlets who cover central and western parts of Kansas cover this story, but so did the eastern part of the state, and it is spreading like wildfire, and so is the outrage on it. Right now, the best way I can even compare it is when the Michael Vick situation came out. People are that mad. I, for one, would prefer a dog or a cat 99% of my days compared to humans. And that's the way a lot of people feel. These animals at our shelter don't have a voice, but I do, and I know there's some others that have voices too that are going to be speaking today. We are asking you to please start taking some type of action to improve our shelter and to have those animals treated the way they deserve, because they don't deserve that at all. That's all I've got.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sue Nickel. Some things in life can be taken in stride. Others are so deeply troubling that they move you to action. For me, this is one of those matters. On February 11th, 2026, I attended the Animal Control Advisory and Appeals Board meeting after reading a letter from an anonymous witness alleging that 3 puppies were euthanized via intracardiac injection without sedation on December 16th, 2025. I understand that those puppies were euthanized due to parvovirus. The presence of illness, however, does not eliminate the requirement for humane procedure. During that meeting, Ms. Andy Murphy stated in response to a general question about euthanasia practices, "We will always sedate," and explained that sedation was administered but not properly recorded in the system. Later, Mr. Jacob Wood stated that all drug use is logged in a separate report and that recent DEA inspections were passed without issue. If that is the case, then the documentation should exist. And if the documentation exists, it should be produced. On February 17th, I submitted a request under the Kansas Open Records Act for the DEA controlled substance logs reflecting sedatives and anesthetics administered on December 16th, 2025. I have received no response. This is not about rumor. It is not about personalities. It is about verification. If sedation was administered, the logs will confirm it. If it was not, it's a matter of serious concern. I am a firm believer in due diligence. The truth regarding the euthanasia of these 3 puppies deserves to come out. I think the public has the right to know. The documentation will either confirm what was stated publicly or it will not. Either way, this commission has a responsibility to ensure the truth is known. The public's trust is not maintained through verbal assurances, it is maintained through records. If confidence in current operations cannot be restored through transparency and accountability, then it's time to seriously consider whether transferring operations to Prairie Paws is in the best interest of the animals and the citizens of Salina. The community deserves clarity. Our animals deserve humane treatment, and both deserve oversight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols.
Michelle Timpson, Minneapolis. I would like to start by responding to the city manager's comment that I quote, "Most of the interactions of the animal control officers have with the people are negative." So on that side of it, on the animal control, it's a tough job. Yes, animal control can be a tough job. No one here is denying that. But it does not have to be mostly negative. For many years, this shelter and its leadership worked intentionally to build positive relationships with the community. The previous director and shelter staff understood something critical. When the public sees the shelter as welcoming, compassionate, and engaged, interactions change. Trust grows, cooperation improves, and the tone shifts. This community has seen what that looks like. Under prior leadership, the shelter held events that brought families in and built connections, including a Christmas parade where the volunteers would dress up the dogs and the shelter truck would pull the decorated trailer with them on it. A decorated sleigh with Christmas photos with your pets. Off-site adoptions at local businesses. The staff would visit the schools, organizations, and give educational events. Volunteers would host dog wash events at the shelter. They would have low-cost microchip clinics at the shelter. And perhaps most importantly, the shelter was open and welcoming. Members of the public could walk through the kennels, interact with the dogs, and there were treat cups attached to the kennels so visitors could give a dog a small treat and make a connection. That environment creates positive interactions. Community members didn't just see animal control during crisis, they saw compassion in action. Running a large animal shelter is not simply an administrative job, it is a life and death responsibility. A person in charge is overseeing euthanasia decisions, medical protocols, disease control, behavioral assessments, and overall humane treatment of every animal that comes through those doors. Without formal training in animal welfare or shelter medicine, leadership may not recognize pain, fear, stress, behaviors, or updated humane standards. And when that knowledge is missing, animals suffer. National guidelines, including those published in the American Veterinary Medical Association, are science-based and continually updated. It is not enough to rely on tradition or say, this is how we've always done it. Humane practices evolve, standards improve, leadership must evolve with them. A shelter director should have documented training or education in animal welfare because these decisions are not theoretical. They affect living beings every single day. When we talk about accountability, this is what we mean. Expertise matters, education matters, and humane leadership matters most. I would also respectfully ask this commission to consider inviting Prairie Paws Animal Shelter to step in and take over management of our animal shelter. Please reconsider this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben Winholt, Salina. Let's start off with partnerships that are running city-owned entities. OVG 360 runs the Tony Event Center. The amended 2025 budget has $900,000 for contractual services. I don't know how much of this is for OVG 360 because of other contractors, but it's $900,000. Salina Tennis Alliance and Kansas Wesleyan University, they run the tennis courts. 2026 budget, $40,000. Theater Salina runs the Salina Community Theater. With that, they have a 50-year program with the city for maintenance and operation agreement until 2057. Other partnerships in Salina: Salina Area Chamber of Commerce, Salina Community Economical Development Organization, Salina Airport Authority, Salina Downtown Inc., Salina Renews It Center is the newest one, Salina Baseball Enterprises, Friends of the River. That's just to name a few. The Animal Services budget for 2026 is $914,000, $914,934, with wages and benefits for the employees at $657,699. Prairie Paws wants to come in here. They want to take it over. They're a privately owned 501c3 organization, not-for-profit, with estimated 2,600 animals under their care in 2024. This is an important number because with this figure is needed to get grants that they can go for as a not-for-profit. The more under their care, the better opportunity they get for higher grants. They're now running Ottawa, Manhattan, and Emporia. And Emporia's numbers, their fee that they're charging Emporia for 2026 is $161,064. And of course, the city has to still be on board with all the other stuff that they maintain as far as costs and everything. But at least with Prairie Paws, the care of the animals is much more better. And if you go this route, you free up Parks and Recs for all of the other things that they have on their plate. And one of the big things coming up is the River Renewal Project. So in as Mayor Hoppy would put it, this is a no-brainer. Prairie Paws needs to come to this town and talk to Salina about taking over the animal shelter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone
else?
Just a question of the city manager. We keep hearing that the city failed the last inspection. Has the city officially failed have we received a notice from have we failed an inspection?
So we did receive a inspection report that said that I had 5 or 6 complaints, and then it did say it was unsatisfactory. So there will be a re-inspection that happens. Generally, that happens about a month later.
Okay. And that would have been after December, the December or before that?
Yeah. It was in mid-January.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know the date off the top of my head.
Okay.
And
If I could,
yeah, go ahead.
well, I think it would be, it'd probably be in our best interest to let the public know that we are going to have this discussion in 2 weeks.
I don't know if
Yeah, I mean, we are going to
have a study
so yes,
session.
the animal control advisory board did make a recommendation that we move it on to discuss with the city commission, and it will be at a future meeting. I'm anticipating probably at the end of March at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, because that was recommended, so we will. And again, there's multiple things to look at. So we'll be doing that in a study session. So, anyone else? Okay, if not, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.